Hey guys, today I'm going to be comparing and ranking the big five Canadian bank stocks. So those include TD, BMO, the Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank, Scotiabank, and CIBC. This is not like a professional opinion or financial advice. I'm just going to be using a little bit of data to back up my claims, so which bank I think is the best. Overall, I do believe that all five of these banks are very, very good stocks to invest in, and they're all great companies. So how I'm going to be doing this is I ranked all five of the banks in four different categories. The first one is dividend yield. So as you can see, the highest dividend yield is Scotiabank. They have the best dividend yield out of the five banks, followed by CIBC, then TD, then Royal Bank, and last is BMO. So TD's is 3.80%, Bank of Montreal's is 3.38%, Scotiabank's is the highest, which is 4.62%. CIBC is 4.04%, which is the second best, and Royal Bank is 3.41%. And in case you guys don't know what a dividend yield is, it is basically each of these banks pay a quarterly dividend, which means let's say you put $1,000 into any one of the stocks annually, they would return 3.8% of that $1,000 back to you annually. So every 3 months, they would do a quarter of this amount. Dividends can change. Like this could go up or down for TD or any of them. They could go up or down the dividend yields. But let's say you invested $1,000 into Scotiabank annually, you'd hope to get 4.62% or more of a dividend back just for holding the stock. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to sell. All you have to do is hold on to the stock, and you'll get that dividend as long as they keep it around. Which these five banks, I don't see them getting rid of their dividends. They might lower it, but they should keep them around. The next metric we'll be using to compare the five banks is earnings per share, or EPS. EPS is basically a way to measure a company's profit. So EPS is calculated by dividing a company's profit by the total number of common shares. Generally, the higher the EPS, the better, because the more value it would have. So first we have TD, which is 7.78. Next is Bank of Montreal, which is 9.12. Scotiabank, which is 6.30. CIBC, which is really, really good, which is 11.89. That's a really high EPS, or earnings per share. And Royal Banks, which is also good, at a 9.85. So the next metric I'll be using is the 10-year growth for all the five banks. They're all on this graph. The highest one we have is Royal Bank, going up 164.94% in the last 10 years, which is amazing. That is crazy. A crazy growth for a 10-year period. The second one coming in second, another great one, is TD at 125.45% over the last 10 years. Coming in third, we have Bank of Montreal at 115.43%. Coming in fourth, which it's not bad, but it's worse compared to the other three, CIBC at 98.65%. And coming in, it's not terrible by any means, but compared to the other four banks, it is drastically worse. Scotiabank at 49.50%. And I think part of that reason is because they focus on their dividends. Their dividend growth is the highest out of the five banks. And when you have your dividend a bit too high, sometimes it causes your stock not to grow as much. And I think that's the case with Scotiabank. So maybe I think they're going to continue to lower their dividends, and maybe they can try and increase this growth over the next 10 years, which is something that they should do, in my opinion. But overall, the best by a mile out of these five for growth over the last 10 years was Royal Bank, and we'll see if they can continue that over the next 10 years. Let me know in the comments which bank you think will perform the best over the next 10 years. The final way I'm going to be comparing the bank stocks is the 5-year dividend growth rate. What it is, it basically refers to the annualized percentage rate of growth a stock's payment has changed over a 5-year period. So TD's banks is pretty good at 8.58. Bank of Montreal's is 10.64, which is the best one. Scotiabank's is the second lowest at 5.17, followed by the lowest, which is CIBC at 4.75. Royal Bank's is 6.45, which is in the middle. And this doesn't matter too much. It's probably not as important as the other metrics like the growth, but it is nice to have a good dividend growth. So this is a metric that I thought was important enough to include. So here's my overview and conclusion / ranking. So here we have the 5 big banks in Canada. So what I did was rank them from 1 to 5 for each of the 4 categories, and then I added up their total scores. So the lowest would be better, obviously, because if you're first in all 4 categories, you'd have a score of 4. And yeah, so the lowest score in the total column would mean your bank is the bank is better, I guess. But like, there's more important categories, so this isn't 100% accurate, but it's just kind of a quick and easy way of telling which stock is the best. So first we'll look at TD. They ranked 3rd in the dividend yield category at 3.80%, 4th in the earnings per share category at 7.78%, 2nd in the 10-year growth category at 125.45%, and 2nd in the 5-year dividend growth at 8.58. Their total was 11 when you combine those numbers, and they're ranked 2nd. They're the 2nd lowest score. So next we get the BMO. They ranked 5th in the dividend yield, 3rd in earnings per share, 3rd in 10-year growth, and 1st in 5-year dividend growth. Got them 12, and I ranked them ahead of CIBC because they had 12 as well. The reason I did that is just because these two categories are more important for me, at least in my opinion, 10-year growth and 5-year dividend growth. And CIBC ranked really poorly in those, whereas BMO ranked really well in them. So that's why I chose to put BMO ahead of CIBC. So next is Scotiabank. They ranked 1st in dividend yields, but the other 3 categories are not good. Earnings per share was 5th, the lowest. 10-year growth was 5th, the lowest by a lot. It was not even close, really, compared to the other stocks for the 10-year growth of Scotiabank. The 5-year dividend growth was 4th, almost 5th. So they had the highest score by 3 points, which just isn't a stock that I would personally want to invest in. Out of the other, because there's 4 other banks I believe are better, but it's still a pretty good stock to invest in. Don't get me wrong. Coming in at 4th, I already explained why I put it below BMO, but it ranks 2nd in dividend yield. 1st in earnings per share, 4th in 10-year growth, and 5th in 5-year dividend growth. And I already explained why. I think these 2 categories are more important, and they ranked lower in them than BMO, which is why I ranked CIBC 4th. Coming in in 1st is Royal Bank, and shouldn't really come as a surprise. This bank stock is amazing. It is one I'm going to continuously add to my portfolio. It has went up 164.94% in 10 years, which is 1st. Has earnings per share of 9.85, which is great. 5-year dividend growth of 6.45, and they pay a pretty low dividend compared to the other ones, but that's not nothing really. Like 0.6% compared to what you see over here in the 10-year growth. Like, I would much rather have them pay me a 3.41% dividend than Scotiabank's 4.62% dividend if they're going to continue to grow by this much more than Scotiabank. So that is why Royal Bank is number 1, and I personally believe if you're going to buy a bank stock, I would go with Royal Bank. This is my personal opinion. All 5 of these are, at the end of the day, are great stocks. And you can't really go wrong with any of them, in my opinion. Just a disclaimer here, this is not financial advice, and you should always do your own research before buying a stock. And every investment, even these 5 banks, even though they may be considered safe, they do involve risk. So if you are unsure, speak to an advisor before investing. And that wraps up today's video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or video ideas that you want me to do. And thanks for watching.